District 16 is a first-person shooter created by Team Fulmination for an assignment submission at the University of Gloucestershire. District 16 was created using Unreal Engine 4.16.3 combined with 3ds Max and Substance Painter for asset creation.
The gameplay of District 16 is inspired by first-person shooters from the 1990s such as Half-Life and VR. The combination of first-person projectile-based combat and puzzle solving is somewhat lacking in first-person shooters in the current market, such as Call of Duty and Battlefield, both of which opted to replace the puzzle solving with more set-piece oriented action sequences. To quote some words from John Carmack, 1996, "The game designer shouldn't be making a world in which the player is just a small part. The player is the boss, it's your duty to entertain him or her." And although this is a subjective statement, I do agree with it, as first-person shooters these days tend to emphasize set-piece action sequences instead of making the player interact with the game itself.
The design of the level is heavily inspired by Tron and Bioshock in a bunker which is haunted with the spirits of the dead. The bunker is poorly lit and is surrounded by oscillating neon bars which send the spiritual energy throughout the entirety of the plant. With the walls splattered with ghostly remains, the player must be able to keep a cool head while traversing the haunted environment. Combined with white and blue lighting, the mood of the level can be easily changed when a more prominent colour is introduced, as a build-up is needed to convey the right emotions at the right time. Robert 2016. This is conveyed by our use of our spirits being a bright orange which contrasts against the background and definitely tell you when they're attacking you for being a rain on their parade. The puzzles are inspired by those of Portal and Luigi's Mansion, where the player has to move something to point A in order to attain an item to progress forward. Initially these are shown by having to move a box out of the way in order to attain a key to progress forward, and through this we are able to teach the player how to use this in the future to gain other items. By doing this we have implemented a simple mechanic tutorial without the use of exposition, as this can cause confusion with a load of information at the beginning not being memorable at all, Sotheby 2012. This allows it to blend into the gameplay experience and trust that they will make the effort to figure out something that isn't spoon-fed to them, Lyrock 2014, which allows the player to self-learn and prepare for the challenges to come within the rest of District 16.
Similar to many currently released titles, District 16 has a very advanced artificial intelligence. There are 3 types of enemies within the game: a stationary enemy, a flying enemy, and a patrolling enemy. Each enemy type has their own different behaviours and reacts differently upon sensing the player. The stationary and flying enemies have a ranged attack, which they fire upon seeing the player. The patrolling enemy will charge up towards the player in a sort of melee fashion and attack them. Upon defeating an enemy, the enemy will drop an ectoplasm and also ragdoll in a similar fashion to the Fallout games, specifically Fallout 3, New Vegas and Fallout 4. Upon dying, they drop the ectoplasm, which will be used as a form of key for specific doors that require ectoplasm. This serves as one of the key mechanics throughout District 16.
During combat, the ghosts expel their energy in order to attack the player. This is indicated by a shockwave particle effect, an audio clip, and a bloody UI to show the player they have definitely been hit. By having every enemy do this, the player becomes used to having to avoid the shockwaves and learns to eliminate the enemies in a quick fashion. The enemy placement is varied as there are minimal enemies in the same location up until the final stage. By combining this with the puzzles within 16, we are able to simulate a difficulty curve. The curve shows that the player is learning and practicing until the final area, where they must use this knowledge to complete that area and finish the level.
The user interface within District 16 has been heavily influenced by games such as The Division and Metroid Prime. Their simplistic style yet clean layout allow for the player to easily and quickly understand any information that needs to be displayed to them.
For the audio, we tried to make sure that the user interface and heads-up display elements were more obvious than the rest of the audio. This is done by using higher pitched elements for the objectives and a slightly lower pitch for the control pop-ups. By doing this, we are able to emphasize the more important elements within the UI atop the ambient noise within the level. By using Unreal Engine 4's audio capabilities, we are able to create dynamic sounds such as water flowing through pipes to create a new level of immersion for District 16. By including so many different forms of audio without making them compete for space, Lovato 2017, it allows the bunker to feel complex and busy, which allows us to show that the district was once busy and thriving. In conclusion, District 16 meets its goal of being a first-person shooter with some puzzle elements mixed in. With the mechanic it contains, it is able to convey an environment where the player has to learn, and by doing so it allows the player to feel accomplished and that they have succeeded within the level. The level is strong with its visual and mechanics, and with more polishing would have the potential to become a finished product.